As women, we share traits that make us powerful, such as empathy and strength. Women of Reflection is where every woman is unified in sisterhood. Together, we celebrate, we embrace, we rise as strong, divine women. We are warriors. Hello, warriors. We are back. Episode 2. Oh, guys, it's been real since episode 1. I hope you guys are tuning in, liking, subscribing, and sharing to all my episodes. Also, turn on your notifications so you can get updates. But today's episode, it's been a heavy topic resting on my chest. And I have a guest co-host who is helping me get this topic out to you guys today. So introduce yourself, guys. It's my hubby.
Hi, Chef. What are you doing?
Not me. Say hello, warriors. You gotta say hello to the warrior platform.
Hello, warriors. It's been a long time coming. Yes, I'm here.
So for those of you that don't know, my hubby is the reason behind Women of Reflection. He has helped me build this platform from ground up, from my logos to my little commercial stuff that you guys see, all my promotion stuff. So this week has, matter of fact, I would say since my last episode, the past 2 weeks, like God has been revealing a lot to me, and I've been super heavy. And things have just been kind of cutting in place for this episode to kind of go out and I don't know. So my hubby is here as my support to help me just kind of walk through this and work through it. And I'm really happy and honored that he's supporting me today for episode 2.
Yeah,
Thanks, babe.
It's my honor. That's what I'm here for. I'm fulfilling my duties. I'm just happy that I can be here to support your dreams. And I know this is something that you always wanted. I know that I assisted you in getting it up and running and alive, but yeah, I'm happy to be your support.
All right, so let's get into it. Episode 2, I just want to start off by saying this. It's about the heaviness that we carry. And from childhood to womanhood, I think as women, we pick up things that were never our responsibilities, expectations, and pain. And it comes a part of how we become silent, Mm-hmm. So this episode isn't about who hurt me. Okay. It's not about that. It's about who I became trying to survive. And God gave me a word this week. His word to me was, I am enough, but who am I for me? And that question really has been sitting heavy on my heart. So today I'm speaking my truth, not for sympathy, but for surrender. I got to let it go. Because part of my legacy is learning to let go of what I was never meant to carry. And that came about when I was speaking to my friend. I like to call her my sister. Shout out to you. You know who you are. And she was telling me that I carry misplaced responsibilities and I need to put it down. And when she told me that, I had to take time to digest what that meant. And I think when she said it to me, I was in full tears at work.
Wow.
Yeah, it hit me hard because it took me back to the first thing that was placed on me as a child and how that shaped me to become someone that runs on survival mode, which is draining, disappointment. Yeah. So hearing her tell me that was confirmation, because I would say, maybe how many months now? Maybe back in June.
Yeah.
I got a word. So what are we? Almost in November. But back in June, I felt like God gave me a word and he told me to write down everything that was taken from me that was that shouldn't happen. So there were things that was taken from me that played a part in the trauma.
Okay.
And that has shaped a lot of my hurt and my pain and how I trust people and how I love people. And he told me, write it down. And I was like, I really don't want to sit and have to face that again. I really didn't understand like what the purpose of that was. And hearing her tell me I have misplaced responsibilities that I carry.
Oh, wow.
And I need to put it down. That was like super, super deep. And I was like, it circled back to what God told me to do. So I felt like, okay, in obedience, here I am. So some of the things are growing up and being a middle child was hard. As you know, I have 2 beautiful sisters, and it was difficult because, you know, you're always measured as a middle child to what your older sibling can do, or you're measured to, you know, what your little sister can do that you can't do. I think that really shaped a lot of my confidence in hearing the things that my dad would say caused a little harm to like me believing in myself.
And also the middle child is the one that always does a lot because, you know, they're the one that always cater to the older sibling and to the younger siblings. So
Definitely.
it's like,
yeah. So it's hard because you put the pressure on it, but then you begin to hear the things that are said about you. And then that plays a part in how you show up for yourself. It also plays a part of shaping your characteristic. And I think it was really, really hard for me. So that's, you know, one of the things. On top of that, having divorced parents who don't communicate, the worst experience ever. You know, having to go through life and wanting both parents to be in a setting and have what they call healthy relationship where we can all kind of be together and be on one accord. I didn't have that growing up.
I mean, neither did I.
Yeah.
I mean, even though my mom, I can't recall her ever being married, but I can remember when I was younger, like way young. I used to remember my stepfather, like I could remember him being around, like him visiting and everything. But from my perspective, I just always felt that void that was not filled and just wanting that. So whenever he used to like visit, like in the evenings or whichever, because he's not always around because he used to travel. Mm-hmm. So whenever he's around, I just remember clinging to him and just wanting to fill that void.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah. Do you think it was filled or no?
I don't think it was filled.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you don't have something and you get a little bit,
yeah, that's enough.
It's still something.
Definitely.
You know?
Do you know something weird? I didn't like going to the mall as a kid.
What?
Because you see families there.
Oh, that part.
And I know that sounds weird, but it used to trigger me. Mm-hmm. Seeing mothers and dads or mom and daughter shopping and dads and their kids with their daughters shopping.
Yeah.
I felt like it reminded me of what I didn't have with my parents. And that was a trigger. That was a trigger moment for me.
Yeah, I think it affected me also a little bit. Mm-hmm. Whenever I would go to like events, certain type of family events, and you know, it's just my mom and I and maybe 2 of my sisters, because they used to be around at that time. But cause my mom had 6 kids, you know, not all of them was around. So I mean, for the most part, 3 of us kind of really grew up together. Yeah, you know, but I just always used to get that feeling and everything when I go out, but my mom struggled, you know? And even though I felt that void, is like, you don't really want to put too much pressure on it because you know how hard she's trying, like, to provide for us and everything as a single mom. Yeah. You know? But she might not be perfect, but I'm satisfied with what she did by herself.
Oh, I definitely love that. You're right. My mom did a lot for us too. After the divorce, she definitely pulled into the role of mom and dad heavy. And I love that. I think that's where we learned our strength. It was like nothing that we could not do, because we learned to keep going and how to be strong for that. So shout out to our moms. We love you.
Warrior moms.
Another thing that was placed on me, misplaced responsibility. In the midst of my parents being separated, getting molested. Oof, Jesus, 3 years of that was the hardest part of my life. Going through that and not having my parents to go through, just like how you said you didn't want to put anything on your mom because, she was doing your best. I kind of felt like there was no way for me to even express it because I was so young that I didn't understand what was transpiring. But going through that shaped me in a way of becoming very angry with the world. And I also became angry with God because here I am, raised in the church, living in a home, godly home at that, where I should have been protected and respected, and
Definitely.
I wasn't.
But the thing is, I feel like that brings more pressure to it. And I feel like that's the reason why you might be scared of saying anything,
Yeah. I think it's hard because you're taught to love God, honor God, and live by God. And once you do that, like life happens. Like God protects you. God loves you. And so I was so young. I told you, I was like, that's it. I'm going to marry my husband. I'm going to, lose my virginity to that one man and, have kids. You have this whole plan by faith because you're a believer and you trust God that way. And then right before your eyes, that's taken away.
Yeah.
And you have to now process and also sit with a little bit of anger. Like, God, I trust you. I did everything that aligned with your word. And here I am being taken advantage of, to hear someone is, molesting me. I could not process that. I literally had to take God in the courtroom because for years I held that in contentment and just felt so angry towards why that transpired in my life. And
that's awful.
Yeah, I walked with that anger for years. And I would say that that was something that was placed on me as well. Another thing is becoming a single mom. And, I know you spoke about your mom being a single mom.
Yeah.
But becoming a single mom due to domestic violence. And we are in the month of October. So I want to give love and light to anyone who has lost a loved one due to domestic violence. Paying my respects and letting them know that they're not alone. It's definitely a difficult road to travel on. And I feel like the hardest part is, your blueprint. So once you have a baby, I like to call it the blueprint phase.
Okay.
You conceive, we just had a baby.
Yeah.
I just had a baby.
King Kyrie. No, we did.
Okay.
Both of us did.
Okay.
I was right beside you.
This is our journey. So you have this blueprint, because we both do. We sat down and talked about what we want for his life and, the other children, our other kids, like what we want for their lives. So having that blueprint, originally, and then life takes a turn for the worse. And then you don't leave because you're not in love with the person. You just want what they're doing to you to stop. That was that's a hard decision to make because you leave and then you deal with falling out of love after. And that's why most women go back multiple times because you never fall out of love. It's so hard. You have to deal with that on the outside and still be mom and still get up and still smile and still carry the load and walk away from a lot. It's hard.
Yeah. And I mean, from an understanding point of view, like, the love and all of that, and you want things to be better. But also, I'm pretty sure there's a fear of just doing it alone, all by yourself.
Elaborate.
For someone that is a victim of domestic violence, it must be hard for them to just come to terms that they have to do all of this by themselves. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the love is an aspect, and you know you love this person, and you want it to work, and you just wish that all of these things figure themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes some of these people don't have the support, so they stick to what they have.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's a hard place to be.
It's definitely a hard place.
I just give thumbs up for the ones that are strong enough to walk away. You know?
Yeah. That's deep. Thanks, babe.
and I feel sometimes, because I don't want to say like there's always that, but I feel like if there was like a present strong male figure in some of these women's life to support them, like I feel like it would have went down differently.
Yeah.
You know? Like, yeah.
But I also think that it's hard because when you're in it, people feel that, and I'm speaking from my experience.
Okay.
People feel that when you're in it, if I give you advice, you're supposed to take that advice and leave immediately.
But
they don't understand that.
What is the advice that people give you?
It's to leave.
Okay. Yeah, it's one thing to tell someone to leave. I mean, I wasn't in the seat, but from an understanding point of view, it's one thing to tell someone, yeah, leave and do this and make this decision. Mm-hmm. But what support is being provided to this person to make that decision?
So not only just support, but the mental like acceptance.
Mental support also.
That it's acceptance to say like, okay, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, it's not just physical support.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on. You need mental support also.
Yes. And that's limited because people expect that when they give you the advice, you're supposed to act on it immediately. They don't factor in the processing point. They don't factor in the fact that you do love that person, even though they're hurting you. I read something that states you go back 15 times or more before you leave.
15?
Yep.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But it's true. I can tell you how many times I've spun the block.
I mean, I've not only you, but I've heard a lot of stories. I've seen like people like, over and over.
Yeah. Because love is something that it's hard to really walk away from. And the blueprint of wanting your kids to have this happy environment. Yeah. And some people, like, whatever it takes, as bad as it is, you begin to settle because you want the blueprint. Yeah. You don't want to let go of that.
Because it's totally different when you actually have kids together.
Definitely. Well, that's a lot. Like, it's crazy when you like start to sit down and reflect on the things that we carry. And it's a wow factor. Like, yeah, I don't want that to shape who I am becoming, especially as a mother of 4 or as a wife. Yeah. You know, and so identifying it has taught me that I learned to survive by believing I had to earn love and fix everything and be strong even when I was breaking. And that survival made me powerful, but it also made me heavy. And because when you're constantly proving your worth, you forget what it feels like to just be enough. And I think that was so hard for me. I didn't know what being enough looked like for me because of the things that people done to me and the things that they said to me growing up or, you know, in the past that shaped who I was becoming. It played a part of that. So for a long time, I just kept believing what others said about me and believing the lies and the names and the manipulation and the silence of it all. I feel like I stayed too long in situations that broke me because I thought maybe if I endured enough, it would mean I mattered. Do you get that? What I'm trying to say is, okay, if I endured enough, it would mean I mattered. And what I mean by that is, I let the things that were done to me make me, I guess, like it.
You mean like growing up or as an adult when you became a mother?
I would say both, because I've endured a lot growing up as a kid because, my parents really weren't there.
Yeah.
And my grandparents were there, but they were too old and churchy, and it was just hard. I mean, I had a lot of people to play to how I was shaped and what I didn't want, and my mom, but I don't know. I'm talking about both aspects: childhood, preteens, adult. I think that I mastered my enough by staying in things way too long, because if I stayed, even if it wasn't the way I was deserved to be treated, I still felt like I mattered by taking whatever anyone gave me, but the truth is that pain doesn't define purpose. God does. And I always have to circle back to that.
Yeah.
God really has defined what my purpose is. Yep.
That's deep.
Thanks. So the story that comes to mind when I think about everything that was misplaced, all the misplaced responsibilities on me, is John 4. And it talks about the woman at the well. And I think like when God told me to write it down, that was a sermon that I watched. And they were speaking about her story, which I've never heard. Like, that how she didn't come out in the morning when other women come out to get their water. She came out in the afternoon because she didn't want to deal with the people in the streets. And I was just like, wow, she didn't, want to have to answer to her lifestyle to people. So she just avoided them. And in this story, it talks about a woman who went to draw water alone because her past made her hide. And Jesus met her there, and not to judge her, but to see her. And I love that. It hit me because for so long, I feel like I've been that woman showing up to the same well, trying to fill an empty cup with things that never lasted. The approval, the love, the validation, survival. But Jesus said, which is my favorite part in this story, whoever drinks the water I give will never thirst again. And I was like, okay, God, what a word. To me, hearing that, it tells me that he offered something else. And what he was offering was like an internal offering. So it helped her identity and her worth. And that was the living water that he was giving to her, not the physical one that she kept going to get in the midday. And so she, the woman at the well, she left her jar behind that day after speaking to God. And I feel like that's what God has been telling me to do by telling me to put it down, to stop carrying the jar of what happened and finally leave that behind. But in order for me to do that, I had to identify and sit with it again.
Okay.
And it got me thinking, which is why I'm able to share some of that with the listeners today. And I feel like it was heavy. It was heavy, but necessary.
Yeah.
And because I don't want to carry that, like I said, and I know I needed to put it down. So like I said, for months, since June, really, God has been instructing me to write it all out, to bring it to the water. And he told me to let it go. He said, give it to me. But I did. I went around it. You know that, because here we are in October, and I held on to it because I wasn't ready to face what it meant to be free.
No, you did very good.
No, I didn't. I'm back on track now.
Oh.
Sometimes bondage becomes familiar, though.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like in this season, God said enough. So this is my obedience tonight and this month. I really have been sitting in silence and sitting in my heaviness and just putting it down in the moment. I don't know why I feel emotional. Yeah.
I got you. I'm right here.
Thanks, babe. Yeah. So I'm writing it out from the beginning to now, and I'm releasing every version of me that was built by pain, silence, and survival. Because I'm no longer who they said I was, but I'm who God says I am. And that's my legacy.
Definitely.
That is my legacy, to heal out loud, to show my daughters, my daughter. So to heal out loud, to show my daughter and my sons that healing doesn't make you weak, but it makes you whole. And that just made me emotional. Man, you don't ever realize how heavy you carry the things of your past, you know? But it's so important that we deserve to just be free and let God lead us, you know?
Take the load off.
Yeah. Let it go and give it to me is what I heard. Whew. So I want to take a moment, you know, self-reflection, to ask our listeners, take a moment as I'm giving myself one.
All right, warriors, pause for a second. Take a deep breath.
Yes. Breathe in, breathe out.
Mhm.
And then ask yourself, what am I still carrying that God told me to put down? Whose words are still shaping the way I see myself? And most importantly, this is an important part. Who am I for me? And once you can sit with that, I want you to write it down, pray over it, and release it. Because that's what I did.
All right, guess what? I have an idea.
What's your idea?
Because this is Women of Reflection.
Yes.
How about while they do that, you look into the mirror?
Wow. I couldn't look into the mirror. My reflection was my writing it out.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a mirror.
Okay. It's an idea.
It's an idea. So you can, there it goes. You have two options.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say, because, you know, you are not what happened to you. You are who you're becoming because of what you survived. That's deep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So we got to let it go, guys. So today I'm reminding myself and every woman listening that we are enough. We are not defined by what we've been through. We are defined by what we're overcoming. And this episode is for every woman who has been told she's too much, not enough, too broken, too complicated, or like me over here crying, too emotional. You are enough, you are chosen, and you are loved. And now it's time to learn who you are for you. So I want to thank my hubby for helping me get this message out.
Yeah. And I wanted to add, before we end, you know, based on what you said, letting something go, you know? You might have something that weigh less than a pound, something that you wouldn't say is heavy. It's easy for you to just hold that thing like this in your hand. But just keep your arm out and keep holding that. The longer you hold it, is the heavier it gets.
That's true.
It's a lot of weight on you the longer you hold it. So remember that.
So say the last words.
Let it go.
And give it to God.
Give it to Him. All right.
I love that, babe. Thank you so much for being my guest co-host. And thank you all my warriors out there, for tuning in and listening to Love, Loss, and Legacy episode 2. I'm your host, Chevy, the founder of Women of Reflection. And as always, I pray that today's reflection helps you see yourself clearly, feel deeply, and walk freely. Until next time, remember, you are enough and you're becoming. And remember, we are warriors. Bye.